Welcome everybody to the rise of the Ghorst Meister, me playing as the vampire counts as usual versus my opponent, Sanchez, rolling over the Greenskins. Now let's go into some army introductions. I'm going to have a front line of zombies. It's a very standard set. Of course, I'm going to have the tithe. If you're going to bring Helm and Ghorst, you got to bring his regiment of renown, special zombies with extra health, 9,000 to be exact, compared to the 7,000, and they have 15 armor and stats may be equal to like a Skaven slave. Not very good at all, but you know, it's 100 gold extra, so it's like actually really not worth it. It's better to get another zombie, but Helm and Ghorst, the tithe, they go together. Secondary line of Graveguard. Graveguard just do so well against the Greenskin matchup. Just really good against any unarmored. The only thing they really have a tough time against are Black Orcs, but the Vampire Counts have a lot of different tools to deal with Black Orcs. Speaking of which, I do have a third line of Crypt Horrors. Now this is the armor-piercing anti-large unit I really need. Now these aren't actually anti-large, but because of their high mass, I use them to pin in large units and just squish them so that they can't relieve, and they'll just get smacked to death with the clubs of poisonous valor of the Crypt Horrors. I do have one unit of Black Knights on the left just for a tiny bit of mobility, some Fellbats, a Black Coach. Now I really love the Black Coach in this matchup because they just run over orcs all day. Be very careful as they can get caught up by Spider Riders, but getting into the back line, running over those archers so that they can't shoot you down is very important in this matchup. And one extra unit of Skeleton Spearmen because, you know, it's they're just nice. You know what? Their Skeleton Spearmen are probably one of the best spearmen in the game. They just hold forever and they're just so great. But without further ado, it's Helm and Ghorst, the master of the dark arts himself. I do bring his Invocation of Nehek, and I believe the Gaze of Nagash. Man, I'm a madman today. Liber Noctis for those extra wins. And where is that special spell? There it is. He has the... No, come on. Awaken from the grave. Summon a unit of Graveguard. Now, Graveguard aren't the highest DPS unit in the game, so that's why this summon is relatively known as not very good, because if you want to summon, you either want to hold them up, or you want to do a lot of damage per second with the unit you summon, like, for instance, Chaos Spawn and the Beastmen. But Graveguard don't really do that. They do hold up, but zombies do practically the same job. Two White Kings, because White Kings are really great in this matchup, especially with their anti-infantry. They're just really hard to take down for the Greenskin onslaught. Now over here by the Greenskins, ran by Sanchez. So Goblin Wolf Rider Archers, really nice pick because I can't really catch any of these archers and they just get free picking on my little vampire count army. Now one thing I did fail to mention, I do have a mortis engine. Now remember guys, this is against tournament rules. You can't have two mortis engine effects at the same time, but this is quick play, and mortis engine plus Helm and Ghorst drain equals goodbye front line. So back to the Greenskins, we're going to have some Goblin Wolf Riders, so I can't really chase them except for Black Knights, and Black Knights really good at chasing because they do have the bronze shield and the ability to like not catch them but chase them away. Front line of Goblins, Black Orcs, Biggins, more Black Orcs, and a secondary line of more Biggins along with the Regiment of Renown Night Goblins. Now in terms of large units, we do have the Ragnarok Queen. The ability to summon spiders is probably one of the best abilities. This is probably like one of the linchpins of the Greenskin roster. Really great for bringing them. I also like bringing this in the Vampire Count matchup as well, although I don't like this matchup playing as Greenskins. So I do meme it because I do know that this matchup is a bit tough. Now, we do have the Night Goblin Warboss right over here, as we do, he believes he has Tormentor Sword, so he can stop my units, and for magic casting, he has a Goblin Big Boss and a Orc Shaman with the Foot of Gork. Foot of Gork being probably one of the most powerful spells in a small contained area. So, with the army introductions out of the way, let's get started. I'm going to be moving forward very briefly as I get shot to pieces by these Goblin Wolf Riders. I really like the choice here. I can't get into the back line if there is no back line to get to, and that's a very common thing I see when I'm fighting other people that are a little bit more experienced in this matchup. Now I do try to get like a small charge into Morgar's Mangy Marauders, but it's they're so fast. Like Wolf Riders are 92 speed, sorry, and that's pretty insane for a unit like this. I do take a lot of damage on the Black Knights, but because I know that, I just move them back to the Mortis engine and next to Helm and Ghorst, and the Ghorst Meister plus the healing of the Mortis engine should get them back up relatively quickly. So zombies moving forward, my intention here is to get my zombies to take the wall to the face. But if any Greenskins player knows what to do, they will not pop the wall when they charge into zombies. It's a huge waste of the wall to do so. So I'm going to start the engagement with the zombies with or without the permission as the Greenskins player. And the frontline charge, he pops the wall into the zombies. Man, that was not the play, but I'm going to have my zombies and Cryptors saturated in here. These zombies will not last whatsoever, but now that the charge bonus is gone for the Greenskins, I can saturate those beautiful, beautiful Cryptors. But here comes, oh no, it comes the Foot of Gork. Now, something I really... Oh, Gaze and Nagash hitting the Ragnarok Queen, doing very little damage, of course. But the thing about the vampire counts is that they are the king of blobs. And you know what really busts blobs? Foot of Gork. So I lose a lot of hit points on all my units in that blob. My Sternsman and my Tithe might as well be gone. A nice Brain Buster to try to get that passive going and dealing a decent amount of damage, but I'm going to get Ghorst over here on the right side. He's going to get in combat, and he's going to be devastating. Now, I like what the Greenskin player is doing here. They do have a secondary line so that they don't have all their units getting tired out. Now, eventually, I do want them to be sort of flanking, as I will win this frontline engagement, but having some reserves can be good. Problem is, the reserves have nothing to protect, like Orc Error Boys or anything like that. Nice fire from the Greenskin player through the Wolf Riders shooting over at Helman Ghorst. The one thing about Helman Ghorst is that Helman Ghorst is just a terrible target for taking projectiles. Like, he has like, what, 45 armor? It's like pitiful. He does regeneration, but enough shots from him and that will be a dead Helman Ghorst. But Helman Ghorst saturated infantry, and that's how you keep them protected. Black Coach running around. He's going to charge straight into some Black Orcs, getting some nice value because the Black Coach is pretty much one of the best anti-infantry chariots in the game. I think it's next to like just second to like nobles on chariots, right? So I do have a summon of Greyguard to try to get into this backline of Big Orc Biggins. The Graveguard will really trade well, and my Sternsmen are dealing with the Night Goblins that are unbreakable. So remember when I said how not Night Goblins, but Cryptors are super good as an anti-large component in an army? It's because as long as they're mixed with Skeleton Spearmen, they can deal so much damage. Look, that's like 25% of the health off of a very expensive piece for the Greenskins. And it's just one unit of Cryptors and one Skeleton unit and a White King, while the Graveguard are dealing with some of the infantry. Now on the left flank, I have won quite decisively against the Black Orcs. It's mainly because I have the Mortis Engine. Remember, this is not tournament legal. Do not bring more than one Mortis Engine effect, but it's a very powerful tool. I do have the Fellbats coming in. I use Fellbats to chase units off, and sometimes I just forget them in the back completely. And where do my Black Knights? Yeah, Black Knights are going to be struggling to catch up, but they will be pressuring these Morgurs, Mangies, and the Wolf Riders. Interesting that my opponent doesn't put them on skirmish mode. I really respect it when someone doesn't bring a unit on skirmish mode, but look how much damage they did to that one Mortis Engine in just a few volleys. My goodness, that's some real focus fire right there. Now, Helman Ghorst is doing just fine. He's standing amid his Graveguard, as the Summon Graveguard over here actually did quite a bit of damage. Half health for an Orc Biggin, so worth it for the summon, at least in that case. And I'm going to have the Magical Animus proc as I get Helman Ghorst versus the Night Goblin War Chief. This is not the matchup Helman Ghorst really wants. He's already taken quite a bit of damage, and the reserves of the Greenskins trying to charge in, but I do have the Sternsmen to block a secondary wall going in, and that's quite dangerous for my units. Good thing no charge bonuses are getting off. Now, I am chasing off these Wolf Riders with my Bats and my Black Knights, doing very effectively, but the Night Goblin Warboss trying to protect them. Maybe I'm seeing a Tormentor Sword to try to get them still, but as long as they're not firing at the Mortis Engine, I am okay. Goblins doing, like, they're just going to get crumped because Goblins versus Mortis Engine plus Graveguard, yeah, good luck with that. And the Ragnarok Queen, as tough as it always will be, is so hard to take down, even though he's pinned by Horrors, Skeletons, Helman Ghorst. Like, God, look how much damage Helman Ghorst took in just a few hits. That Night Goblin Warboss is, like, just tearing into the rear. I should really be protecting him with my White Kings, but get him mixed in infantry, and it'll be a-okay. Now, my Black Coach has been consistently cycle charging. Here's the thing about Black Coaches. The more they stay in combat, they can deal so much damage. Let me get the unit card here. They can do so much armor-piercing damage, 165, and they get, like, a 60% bonus as they get in combat. So as long as you rear charge a single entity, they can actually kill them. So I like to bring them in the like Skaven matchup to deal with the good fashion like Hell Pits. But another great Foot of Gork goes, and I just lose so many Skeletons and Sternsmen. But unfortunately, I believe the balance of power is quite in my favor. My Mortis Engine on the left been gravely injured, pun intended. But it's okay because they regenerate. Ghorst Man is going to just be the linchpin to destroy this greenskin force, and unfortunately the spider has routed off. Now the spider is just come back. Unfortunately my opponent hasn't even got him back, but I'm going to get the fantastic Fellbats, give it a nice rear charge, hit him, smack him on the bum, and the spider should be off the battlefield in no time. Some charges in from the Goblin Wolf Riders, trying to get some value in, but unfortunately there's just no more infantry left for the greenskins and no projectiles that can deal with my large entities. Yeah, a nice rear charge with the Fellbats do take off the spider, and army losses take in, and that's going to be a GG for the Ghorst Man. I hope you liked that replay. It's not very often you get to bring Helm and Ghorst. He is pretty much like the second or third worst lord in the game, next to like Grimgor and maybe even like Nakai. Actually, Nakai is actually pretty awesome. I would never say he's a terrible lord, but overall, there's not many matchups you can bring him. So versus, I would say, Beastmen and Greenskins, that is the matchup where you bring Helm and Ghorst, because it's not too hard to deal with the back line, especially Greenskins and Beastmen don't have like, especially Beastmen I would say, because a black coach can literally run over everything. There is very little that can stop a black coach running through the back lines. But overall, I hope you guys liked the replay. Leave a like if you liked and subscribe if you want more. Sorry for the small like drought in content. I've just been enjoying other video games in general. Maybe I'll put on the channel, maybe I won't, because it's just, I want to keep my channel more Total War focused with just sprinkles of other things. So guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.